Hello everyone, welcome to Fablehaven Age of Wonders 4. The rise from ruin is on the horizon. And as with all expansions, its accompanying update, the Scorpion update, brings some significant changes to the base game. The open beta is available on Steam if you would like to try them out for yourselves ahead of the March 9th release date. And today we're going to be going over the open beta. This first part, the Steam post, I'll leave a link to both the Steam post and the Paradox full patch notes down below. This first part is just kind of like a high overview of the changes, and then of course we'll get into the nitty-gritty details very soon. So use the YouTube chapters if you would like to jump around. Without further ado, hi all. The release of Rise from Ruin is slowly approaching, and as with every release, it is accompanied by a free update. Starting now, the Scorpion update is in open beta on Steam. Steam owners of the Age of Wonders 4 can access the Scorpion update by opting into the Scorpion_beta branch with the instructions below. When you enter this beta, you will encounter a massively different Age of Wonders 4. Over the past few months, we have spent a lot of effort revamping some of the core military systems. The goal of these changes is to address some of the larger balance and quality of life issues that are inherent to the current system. Move speed normalization. Movement speed has a huge influence on early game pacing and success. Previously, armies with faster units could reach more battles, gain more resources, and snowball into a stronger position. Because an army moved at the speed of its slowest unit, this created a preference for mounted traits and fast-moving units, limiting army diversity and strategy. All regular units now share the same number of movement points on the world map. This ensures that mixing slower and faster units in a single army no longer reduces the overall travel speed. Scouts retain their 48 movement points, maintaining their role as fast and exploratory units. To reflect the impact of all these changes, we have rebalanced the costs and effects of various movement and mount traits. This has been apparently quite controversial, but I think it'll be more enjoyable for the, casual role-playing players such as myself. We'll just find ourselves moving about more consistently and typically farther. For the hardcore people, they all have their opinions. Defense resistance update. We're updating how defense and resistance work across all units to bring them back in line with their original design intent. Over time, enchantments and hybrid damage types have blurred the distinction between physical and magic damage, making traditional tank units less reliable, especially in the late game. The new system changes how damage reduction is applied, focusing on the source of damage rather than the type of damage dealt. We're also adding a new unit role that deals magic damage at melee range, the Magic Fighter. Several of the existing elemental fighter and skirmisher units that we already have will brandish their new role. I think all in all, this is just a good change. And it should reduce... You'll still want resistance, but in the end game, resistance was kind of like king over all else. I think that'll reduce this. We'll see. The experience update. Leveling up units is one of the most rewarding parts of gameplay, but previously XP gains were heavily tied to combat. This meant players who fought more battles progressed much faster, while others lagged behind. It also made evolving or improving units in the late game difficult, since there were fewer fights available. All units now gain experience automatically each turn, even when not fighting. This means your armies will continue to improve simply by existing and participating within your empire. XP gained from battles have been halved, which means units still get rewarded for combat, but fighting is no longer the only reliable way to level up. To facilitate all of these changes, the XP scale has been increased by a factor of 10. With this, we're also bringing back exalted ranks. Once a unit reaches its final rank, it can continue leveling up indefinitely. These extra levels require a large amount of experience, so progression remains slow but rewarding. The system can be disabled through the advanced settings for those that desire it. After updating to the Scorpion beta, your in-game version will be that. So I'm actually a huge fan of this experience update, and I'm really curious if we can find a way to break it, because there are sources of increased just natural experience. I'm very eager to play around with this. So that was the kind of overarching mechanical changes. If you would like to leave feedback, the most effective way to provide us with feedback is by making a discussion thread in the open beta's discussion. There's a couple of different types of feedback that we can process during this beta period. Balance. With all of these changes, there will naturally be a lot of balanced feedback. It's already started. Our goal is to address any extreme imbalances and important feedback that need to be tackled for the release. We only have time to make these changes until Tuesday, the 24th of February. This is because of translations and localizations and whatnot. Balance changes that are more general or require us to change text are not feasible during the beta period. This feedback is welcome, but will be addressed during our regular development period as resources allow. Stability. Crash reports with the crash tool will automatically show up in our backend, so when you experience a crash, please make sure to upload those. If you have a blocker, i.e. a crash or hang that will not allow you to continue your game, please make a report and include your crash report name given after upload so we can tackle it. Any general bugs reported are welcome, but not the main focus of this period. We'll try to address those in a timely manner depending on our available resources. Modding. If you have experienced issues and suspect that it might be related to one of your mods you have installed, then please verify which mod it may be by disabling your mods. If you determine which mod is causing your issue, try to contact the mod developer first. If you experience crashes with your mods, then please make a thread as stated above. Blah blah blah. Alternative mods can cause issues, which do try to ensure they do not crash. The final update of this beta will be when we submit the Day 0 patch for certification. After that, the branch will remain active until the release of Rise from Ruin and the Scorpion update on March 9th. When the time of release hits, the beta branch will be updated to include the Rise from Ruin content. This ensures a smooth transition for users switching back to the default branch. A few hours after release of the Scorpion beta branch will be disabled and removed. Any remaining users will be automatically moved back to default when this occurs, but it is advised to switch back yourself after you have verified that you've gained access to the Rise from Ruin content. So if you'd like to get into the beta, here's what you need to know. The beta is only available on Steam. Owners on console, Epic, or GOG will receive the full Scorpion update alongside the Rise from Ruin culture pack on March 9th. If a save has been made in open beta, there's no going back. You will not be able to open that save in the game outside of the beta until the beta ends on March 9th. Spent Pantheon points and unlocked content do not transfer between branches. If you unlock the new Pantheon content included within the Scorpion update during the beta and decide to switch back, your points spent will be lost. The Pantheon content will need to be reacquired when returning to the beta branch or upon release. That's actually really good to know. Only use this in multiplayer if all participants agreed. Yes, yes, yes. And here are the pretty pictures that tell you how to get to the properties, the game version. It's staging, huh? No, it's open beta. Scorpion beta should be listed in the selected game version. Blah, blah, blah. So again, these are just like the high overview and the instructions how to get into the beta. And there you go. Now, the nitty gritty, the fine details that you're all here for. And of course, my legendary insight that tends to be a hit or miss. I'm actually thinking, you can let me know, there might be a pull for this. I am intending to start or continue the Blint Saga soon, like within a week and a half. And I'm thinking about doing it on the Scorpion update. I have never done that before, but because these are such significant mechanic changes, I kind of want to try it, you know? See how we feel before the Rise from Ruin content is added into the changes. All right, so here we go. The highlights. Supposed to be a repeat, but we're now getting the details instead of just the overview. Movement speed normalization. All regular units now share the same number of move points in the world. This ensures that mixing units in a single army no longer reduces the overall travel speed, allowing for higher army diversity and strategy. I suffered a lot in the last campaign because of my different unit types slowing me down. All units now have 40 movement points on the world map. All scout units have 48. Added combat speed, a new stat that indicates how many hexes per turn a unit can move in combat. Is it 5 or 4? It'll tell us. Associated updates. The feline has the elusive trait by default, and lupine now has ferocious. Okay. The form trait athletics now only increased combat speed. Reduced cost from 2 points to 1 point. Athletics used to be the GOAT. Form trait Mount Masters, additional effect, plus 5 HP to mounted units. All non-flying exotic mount traits reduced from 3 to 2. The Beast Wrangler Ogre contracts for land mounts reduced cost from 1,000 gold and 200 Imperium to 700 gold and 140 Imperium. Floating and flying units now spend 6 points per hex traveled instead of 5. Okay. Okay. But they can still fly over terrain, so in a way it's still better. Defense resistance update. We are updating how defense and resistance work across all units to bring them back in line with their original design intent. The new system changes how damage reduction is applied, focusing on the source of damage rather than the type dealt. And then, of course, there's the magic fighter. So the defense stat now reduces all damage, including magic damage, for abilities that have a melee or physical ranged tag. The resistance stat now reduces all damage, including physical damage, from abilities that have the magic tag and spells. In the case an attack would be blocked by both defense and resistance, the higher value is chosen. Well, that's kind. Renamed damage channel resistance to damage channel protection. Damage channel protection is added to the defense or resistance to determine the final damage reduction. Okay. Add a damage channel protection physical. Rebalance the stats of the core unit types. Most units have less resistance than defense, with the exception for battle mages, support units, and ranged units, which have more resistance than defense. Ability descriptors like magic and base now have tooltips to explain what they mean. The Magic Fighter uses melee range attacks that count as magical, called Magic Strike. Add the passive Melee Mage, allowing for ranged magic attacks to be used when engaged, and uses most battle mage unit enchantments and the defensive or generic fighter unit enchantments. So these are kind of what I want to try in the Blitz Saga if I do a Scorpion update for that. We'll see. So the following are now magical fighters. The Astral Serpent, the Bone Wyvern, the Corrupt Soul, the Fire Wyvern, the Frost Wyvern, the Golden Wyvern, the Gremlin. There's a Wyvern missing here. Is the Obsidian Wyvern not a magic fighter? The Ice Spider Matriarch, the Inferno Hound, the Inferno Puppy, the Lesser Snow Spirit, the Mistling, that little... Oh, the Obsidian Wyvern, there it is. The Phoenix, just keep reading, Fabe. The Plague Serpent, the Snow Spirit, the Spirit Hawk, the Spirit Wolf, the Storm Bringer. Really? Huh. The Storm Scale Serpent, the Will Thief, the Wind Rager, the Wyvern Fledgling, and the Zealot. So I'm not sure how much deeper they'll go into this later, but the role of the Magic Fighter is to be a Giga Glass Cannon. It is meant to deal monstrous damage to the front line, which will typically have more defense than resistance. However, to compensate for their very high damage output, they have quite low defenses themselves. Like, for example, the Gremlin is a tier 2 magic fighter, has 2 defense and 2 resistance, whereas like a tier 1 unit can have the exact same defensive stats. So they're going to be a little fragile, but some of these, the Mistling, I can see be very annoying. Also, Zealot spam has gotten a lot better. The associated updates. Form trait vulnerable to physical, changed from -1 defense to -1 physical protection. Oh, I see. Interesting. Form trait resistance changed from granting +1 defense and +1 resistance against magic attacks, spells, and other effects to granting +1 resistance. Does that make this better? I think it does. It actually, isn't it technically the same? I guess it's the same. The form trait tough changed from granting +1 defense and +1 resistance against melee attacks to granting +1 defense. Yeah, this system does allow them to simplify a lot of the functionality. I can see this is like a universal, just bringing things to the same form. Debuffs, Sundered Resistance, and Sundered Defense no longer inflict status resistance reduction. I wonder if there'll be a new way to track status resistance, or maybe it's just built into your defenses now. The passive, Reinforced, no longer grants +3 resistance against physical range attacks. Right, because you don't need resistance against physical range anymore. The passive Warded no longer grants +3 defense against magic attacks. The hero skill Warded Armor no longer grants +3 resistance and +3 defense against magical attacks. Now gives +2 resistance. I think this is better now. The Wildlife Umbral replaced inherent +2 defense with +2 physical protection. The unit type Ethereal replaced +2 defense with +2 physical protection. Unit Enchantment Shadow Blades no longer ignores resistance. The unit Magelock Cannon, and the Dragoon no longer apply breaching. One day the Reavers will not be terrible. The dev said it in the live stream, so it has to be true. Hero items, Magelock Rifles, and Sword and Pistol no longer apply breaching. Special Province Improvement. The Materia Monument Zenith and the Materia Monument Apex replace +1/+2 defense with +1/+2 physical protection. Oh, I think I understand. So the physical protection is just like the elemental protection. They added a new type of protection to better fit into the system. Okay. There's a lot of words here, but I think in the end, this will universally be better for the game as we move on. Experience update. All units now get experience automatically each turn, even when not fighting. This means you can continue to gain experience just for existing in your empire. You still gain experience from battles. It's just been reduced because functionally, it'll be very similar because you're just gaining experience over time. Combine that with a lot of fighting. You get the point. With this, we're also bringing back Exalted ranks. Once a unit reaches its final rank, it can continue leveling up indefinitely. I'm very excited for this. All experience values have been multiplied by 10. This will make no difference. It was really done more for like the math side of things, because the example Tom used was that if something said gain 20% more experience and you gained 1 experience point, the game would increase that to 2. So it was way more than 20%. So this helps out with all that. All experience gained from combat has been halved. All units now have a passive experience gain of 10 XP per turn. The city structure Palisade Wall grants an additional 5 XP per turn to any of your units stationed in the city. And the city structure Stone Walls grants an additional 15 experience per turn to any of your units stationed in the city, which replaces the Palisade Wall bonus. Which game did this? Was this Planetfall feature? So now in the late game, if you have just like a random unit sitting in your city, which I do all the time, they'll be slowly getting stronger. Added the endless unit ranks for all non-hero units. Each exalted rank will grant the unit an additional or an extra plus 10 max HP. Ooh, how do we abuse this? These extra levels can be disabled in the advanced setting game flow if you'd like. I guess it depends on how expensive it is to upgrade your exalted ranks, but I imagine most players won't care. Associate updates. Updated various traits and skills to clarify that percentage experience bonuses only affect experience earned in combat. Oh. That's actually very important. Study trait Devotee of Good. Increased experience gained from 2 XP per turn to 10. No longer applies to only racial units. Technically, this is now half as effective, but when you combine that with like the natural 10 XP per turn, it's the same. Okay. No longer applies to only racial units. That's actually really good. That'd actually be a huge buff for Devotee of Good. The Order Empire skill Career Soldiers changed from giving plus 30% experience to plus 10 experience per turn. Very good. I might actually have to take this now. Now that you have endless levels, maybe you just take every experience gain talent now. Ooh, I think you do. The enchantment Rapid Evolution enchantment changed from giving plus 20% experience to plus 10 XP per turn. The hero skill Experience Leader increased XP gain from 2 XP per turn to 10. Again, this is functionally the same with the passive amount. And the city structure Crimson Court increased XP gain from 2 XP per turn to 10. This is for heroes, right? Or is it for your lord? Anyway, all good stuff. In the Pantheon, we haven't seen what this looks like yet, but I believe in this upcoming stream, which is tomorrow at the time of my recording, they plan to show off the Pantheon content. Banner icons, the Molecule, the Winds, and the Ouroboros. Aw. I needed this for the Kazessic playthrough. Customization items, the Fractured Mage Hat, the Fractured Mage Body, the Fractured Mage Shoulder/Cape. Item Forge Visualization, the Man-Catcher Staff. Exotic mount trait, the Fractured Eagle. Society trait, the Transformation Aesthetics. Ooh, I don't know what this does. Oh, wait, I think I do. Someone left a comment. I think this gives you more power if you don't have any transformations. That could be a really interesting playthrough. Added 5 fracturing theme DLC Pantheon content. For owners of the Dragon's Dawn, the Fractured Dragon Head, the Fractured Dragon Body, the Fractured Dragon Horn, the Fractured Dragon Neck/ornamentation. Ooh. So we did see very briefly what the Fractured Dragon looks like, and this could be very interesting. For owners of the Eldritch Realms, the Eldritch Sovereign Fractured Mage Head. We don't know what that looks like yet, but it's probably really cool. New Realm Creation traits. Added a variety of low magic realm traits. Geography trait, the Barren Pangea. This realm consists of a single massive landmass surrounded by uninhabitable deserts. Mountain stalagmite province features are rare. Yes! Go away, mountains. Be gone, foul creatures. Miscellaneous realm trait, the Dissonant Enchantments. This realm resists enchantment magic, requiring significantly more mana and effort to be cast and to be maintained. Ooh. Okay, that's very interesting. This would probably infuriate me, though. A big deal. Well, let's talk about this first. Miscellaneous realm trait, time-locked tomes. This makes tomes be unlocked based on timed cycles rather than skills researched. The pacing is based on the realm's research speed setting, with slowest being every 24 turns a tome. Very slow every 18 turns, slow every 15 turns, normal every 12 turns, fast every 9 turns, and very fast every 6 turns. Huh. So what happens if you're researching a skill when a tome unlocks? But just wait to tell you until you're done researching that skill? This is very different. As an enjoyer of building knowledge, I don't think I would like this, but maybe we should try it once. So anyway, a big theme of Arise from Ruin is playing the game differently. Like if you're playing with the Rise from Ruin stuff, they want you to kind of move away from mass magic and mass enchantments and whatnot. This could be fun. We'll see. Features. Province Transfer Update. Transferring and capturing provinces is a new and improved user flow. Transferring provinces now uses the province pins. When a city has a free population and has adjacent domain, you will see province pins above the available provinces. I think I've seen this. Provinces can now be bought from vassal cities for a small Imperium cost. We can thank Potato McWhiskey for that. He asked the devs. Capturing provinces from enemies now requires the province to be pillaged. When pillaged, it will show as an available annexable province. I see, okay. Capturing a province from a hostile player will immediately repair the province. Fantastic change. An ancient wonder still need to be captured and released before being able to annex it. It was already possible to steal provinces from other players, but it was very unlikely to occur. Because, normally you'd expand away from them, and if you wanted their provinces, you would just take the city anyway. Buying or capturing a special province improvement will revert the improvement to its base version, i.e. Teleporter becomes a conduit. That was probably kind of important. Yeah, okay. The Color Picker. Added a color picker to faction creation. Access from the custom color option in swatches or by going into the custom tab. The custom color can be chosen using the color space and hue slider. Custom color be assigned using RGB sliders and using the hex value. This is going to help me a lot. I have had countless games where the initial color I picked for a faction, I'd pick again. And then my custom factions were like, oh, this fits with them. And the game, of course, spits out an error like, you have two of the same color. So now I think as long as it's not the same exact hex value, you can have a red and a red. Although it might be confusing. The color picker is available for the following customization items for both rulers and factions. Banner background, banner foreground, skin color, hair color root, hair color tip, armor color, metal color accent color, the metal color ES, accent color ES, and the ear feather color for Elysian. Oh, is this for Eldritch Sovereign? Okay. AI. The improvement for AI is an ever ongoing task. One day they'll be great. Free cities can no longer cast combat spells when their lord unit is dead. Nice. Independent units can no longer evolve or gain levels beyond the legendary rank. Okay, so they won't be able to do the exalted stuff. AI now has the ability to capture a province from an enemy if it is pillaged. I wonder how likely they're going to do that, because that could be really annoying. Combat. Improved logic for ignoring the following units. Subdued units, mind-controlled units that will lose their mind control the next turn, summon units that will time out the next turn, and improved logic for avoiding and getting out of hazards. I abused the AI so heavily in the last playthrough with Devouring Void. Maybe it's less easy to do that now. We'll see. For art, polished Dragon Breath VFX, general magic bolts, and plus. Nice. Added the Sandstone Mesa Mountains for the desert theme. Okay. Culture. I don't know what to expect here, team. But we're going in with high hopes. There was no culture rework for this update. Whenever they do a new culture, they don't do a rework as well because it takes too much time. But there has been a minor pass for the primal culture. Let's see what that looks like. For the architect, the unit enchantment Incarnate Mark now affects mythic units. I like where this is going. The barbarian unit enchantment Brutal Mark now affects mythic units. The city structure Battle Ritual Site switched from knowledge to mana. It provides 10 mana and +5 draft income, now boosted by quarries as all shrine structures. The city structure Ancestral Seer Hall switched from knowledge to mana. It provides 15 mana and 10 draft income, and now boosted by quarries as all obelisk structures. So does that mean they get the normal research buildings then? Nice. It's actually a great change. For the Dark Culture, the unit enchantment Mark of the Death Cult now affects mythic units. The unit enchantment Mark of Tyranny now affects mythic units. And the Death Stalker increased HP from 90 to 100. We're buffing the Death Stalker. Okay. Sure. Why not? This is a big deal. I'm assuming all of them are going to be this way, but now the cultural things can be applied to mythic units. It's actually crazy. I wonder if that's because we're getting another cultural mythic unit with the Warlord. For the High Culture, unit enchantment, the Dormant Enchantment. Mythics now get the Dormant Shield of Light, shared with shield units. That was probably one of the safer ones they could have brought. Shock units now get Dormant Shield of Light with the shield, okay. Fighters now get the Dormant Guardian, shared with polearm units. That's an extra retaliation, isn't it? And skirmisher units now get Dormant Seeking Arrows. Oh, okay. That's a big buff to skirmishers. At least their ranged prowess. The City Structure Artisan Workshop increased production income from 8 to 10. Right. The Artisan Workshop now boosted by farms as all workshop structures. The City Structure Lightforge increased draft income from 15 to 20. Increased gold income from 5 to 10, and now boosted by farms as all stonemason structures. Alright. Minor changes, but good changes in the end. The Industrious Culture, the unit enchantment Rune of Industry now affects mythic, ranged, battle mage, and support units. Okay. The City Structure Workers Farmstead increases food income from 8 to 10. The Grand Mill increased food income from 15 to 20, and the production from 5 to 10. I think this is just this is just the cultural stuff being brought up to par for everybody. The Mystic, the Scroll of Attunement, the Ciphers of Dissonance, and the Scroll of Astral Connection will now affect mythic units. We've been asking for a long time to make mythic units better, and I think this is the first step in the right direction. The City Structure Evocator's Abode now increased production income from 8 to 10. The Stone Conjurer had its production increase from 10 to 15, and its mana income increased from 5 to 10. For the Oathsworn, the unit enchantment Pledge of Harmony, Pledge of Righteousness, Pledge of Strife will now affect mythic units. I'm trying to remember what all the pledges do. This one could be really strong, though. Anything that gives more damage to mythic units. City Structure Training Hall increased gold income from 8 to 10. The Hall of Devotion had its gold income increased from 10 to 15, and draft from 5 to 10. For the Primal Culture, here we go. All Primal Quest hero skills change to now give all friendly units a full Fury stack at the start of combat, but only when in their favored terrain. Oh. Okay. All Primal Culture now start with an Earth-shaped spell as if they had taken an adaptation. Wolf and Spider have the new Earth-shaped forest, and Crow has the Earth-shaped grassland. This is fantastic. This is a great change. Unit enchantment Primal Communion now affects mythic units. Wait, that's actually crazy! Because if you're a Spider at Fury, you get lifesteal, don't you? Ooh. Buff Rising Protector now triggers the Primal Boon at 3 stacks. I think shock units get 3 stacks on one swing, right? Unit Protector, Primal Renewal, no longer uses Primal Fury, now always heals 30. Just the Shield Boy. He could consume his Primal Fury to heal 10 for each stack of Fury. But now it looks like you just, when you're in Fury, you can just heal for 30 for free. Nice. The unit Primal Darter, disengaging shot, now jumps over obstacles. Don't care about that unit. The unit Primal Charger now has fast combat speed. Cleaving charge increase gained stacks of Rising Fury from 1 to 2. Maybe they changed it so shock doesn't give you 3. That would be kind of nutty. Unit the Animus, Spiritual Healing, now consumes Fury from the caster instead of giving Rising Fury. Okay, for each Fury consumed, heals an extra 10 hit points. At champion rank, each stack of Fury now used also now removes 1 negative status effect. It reduced cooldown from 2 turns to 1. This is very strong, but it does consume the Fury now, which is important. Summon Primal Animal no longer needs Fury to be used. Never mind, I'll take it back. Now starts the 1 turn cooldown. What the? So there was a cheese build that existed. I mean, I guess it exists even more now, where you would have a full stack of Animus. This is the tier 2 support unit. And you would have them all heal each other to give them stacks of Rising Fury, to then use them all the following turn to summon a bunch of Primal Animals. And all of a sudden, your 6 stack is now a 12 stack. But now you can just do that on turn 2. Huh. We might have to revisit these guys. We'll see. The city structure, Woodcarver's Workshop, increased production from 8 to 10, and the Stone Steel had its production increased from 10 to 15, and food income from 5 to 10. Again, everything being brought in line with everything else. The Storm's Crow, the unit Primal Crow Lightning Bolt increased damage from 8 lightning to 10. The passive Grasslands Walk increased movement cost per hex from 4 to 5. I want to say the Primal Crow also bounces their lightning bolts. Maybe that was just an earlier build, but Tom was talking about it. Well, all in all, again, this is just a minor pass over the Primal Culture, but I think they're going to be a lot stronger now. The Primal Culture, in my last playthrough, died. They were the first one to fall, and it was just to the AI. I had nothing to do with it. So I think this is a good change in the right direction. For the Reavers, the Engraving of Focus now affects mythic units. The Mana Forge increased mana income from 8 to 10. The Lodestone Foundry had its mana income increased from 10 to 15, and its pressure increased from 5 to 10. The Dragoon has 10 more hit points. It's gonna need more than that, but it's a good start. So all in all, again, we weren't expecting many changes here in the cultures, because, again, they made a new culture, so they didn't want to change much with the baseline cultures. But I think all of the enchantments now affecting mythic units is fantastic, and everything else being brought into line is great. All in all, these were all minor buffs. I think Primal got a significant buff, but we'll see how this pans out. Maybe it was enough, maybe it wasn't. For the Empire, there's one change. The Nature Empire skill Wild Expansion now summons an animal when a city grows, not when it annexes a new province. Now uses the city terrain to determine the spawn pool of units. If it's a city terrain, I'm assuming it means the city tile terrain and not where you annex to. Oh, right, because it's based on when a city grows. So it would be the city tile. Interesting. That's really good. When you annexed, it was very cheesable. And now that the nomad culture gets to annex every single time they unpack their city, they had to change it. And honestly, this is a good change. But I think this is also going to print a lot of units. Wild Expansion isn't that far. Well, it's like halfway through the nature tree. And if you're going nature already, you'll have a lot of food income. So you could, like, rather feasibly get 3 full stacks of animals out of this, if not more. It'll be fun. Heroes. The Elder Vampire. The level 4 signature skills are now persistent after ascending. I thought they already were. Oh, yeah, they are for sure. Rework the way Elder Vampire's gift works. Each level of Vampire's gift is a unique property that doesn't stack. When multiple Elder Vampires are recruited, turn vampires only benefit from the highest level of Elder Vampire's gift. Oh. Okay. Fair enough. There have also been some changes to the Elder Vampire. Their economy. Because they are very difficult to play on maps that don't have Sunless. And Sunless was bug fixed to no longer appear on maps they're not supposed to. So maybe that'll show up here, maybe it won't. For the Ranger, the passive Thorn Shot no longer affects adjacent targets and abilities that already have an area of effect. The passive Plague Shot no longer affects adjacent targets and abilities that already have an area of effect. Okay, the active ability Scatter Shot, damage reduced from 24 to 21, adjusted how special attacks and a few other attacks interact with damage bonuses. Okay, a minor nerf to Ranger. I think some of these are more fixes. For the interface, customization items of the same faction's culture and hero type are prioritized in the picker's listing, with an exception for voice overrides, color selections, and skin decorations. Okay. Failed quests in the event log now show the name of the quest that failed. Nice. For the Item Forge, items and infusions from the Pantheon that have not yet been unlocked are now included in the listings as well. Improve the visualizations of locked items. All infusions coming from the Pantheon are grouped under a separate heading. Update the tooltip of locked items and infusions to include the message that they require to be unlocked from the Pantheon. Great. City Panel. Updated border assets. Added the number of provinces that the city can have and currently has. When annexing a new province, the city panel does not close anymore, allowing you to annex multiple provinces without needing to reopen the city panel. Fantastic. This alone is an exceptional change. Which again was done because of the nomads. Province Panel. Added duration pins for self-destruct components on provinces. Province effects can now show in all province panels. Empty province, province movement, outpost, and city province. Okay, province effects can now display the time until self-destruct, typically when an effect will trigger, in the province panels, and the counts as X text bullets as Ancient Wonders now contain a hyperlink to the improvement they count as. Great, more clarity. Economic overview. Owned sectors now show a pin with the improvement type and a shield of the owner on top. Owned sectors do not wrongly lead the player to believe they are clickable, as they have the button behavior removed. No pulsing, no hover state, no click state, and no tooltip. If no city is selected, all operation pins are grayed out. Okay. For the Item Forge, rebalance the damage of pre-made items and starting items so that they correspond to the damage of items from the Item Forge. Yeah, apparently some things in here were weaker than what you started with, which is unintended, of course. Sword and Dagger and Sword and Whip items melee damage increase from 12 to 14 to compensate for the amount slot disabling. Pistols and rifles now give the piercing property to all base attacks that the hero has, so that they affect ranger special attacks as well. Fantastic. Range attacks on dual weapons now get more damage from the giant rune infusions. Range attacks on dual weapons now get better inflicts from infusions that grant inflicts to weapons. Added the Item Forge visualizations, sword and throwing daggers from the Shade Ways of War, and the sword and throwing daggers from the Deathstalker Dark Culture. Active ability Infusion Pulse Shot. Changed from leave one action to full action. Continue. Increase range from X to 5. Huh. Isn't this really bad now? Because the whole point of pull shot was to pull something towards you and then smack it. We'll see. Active ability Infusion Overcharge Cast, no longer available for wands. Increase infusion costs. Increase from 2 to 4. So is this just a miscellaneous item now? But not... What? Okay. Active ability Infusion Bless now grants a different version of Bless that is single action. This is a very powerful Bless, though. It's not one of the weak ones. Okay. Modding. I'm not going to understand any of this, but this is for my modders out there. Added a comment script action allowing for a single form of comments into the scripting system. Added search functionality inside the scripting window, Control F. Added paste and relink functionality to Resource Ed. This relinks pasted resources to each other if the original resources link to each other. When adding new particles to an effect, they now get a default name rather than the be left blank. Resource Browser now also loads conditional RPKs. Modifier set resources can now have their modifier properties revalidated against the modifier ID set, linked via the modifier IDs property, by using a new debug tool available for those resources. Fixed custom prediction that were disabled were not actually getting disabled. Oh, that's a good change. Fixed the library resource selector splitter in resource add and content add not updating between tabs and refreshing. F5. Great! This also sounds good. For multiplayer, these are all out of sync issues. They are continuing to punch them. It's like whack-a-mole. You fix one out of sync issue, another one pops up. One day, multiplayer will be stable. Knock on wood. The fix an out of sync issue that could occur when calculating how many hit points a unit has in relation to its maximum hit points, caused by using an unsafe function to give a unit permanent property reward. Fix another issue that could occur when releasing a city as a vassal. The city did not properly grab data from the house's race. Fix an issue that could occur when doing a race transformation. Units stored in story event data stores were not updated. And fix an issue that could occur when applying a race transformation that granted flying or floating on a unit that was embarked on a boat. Yep. Just keep on playing whack-a-mole. Spells. The world map spell Forced Evolution spell, sometimes rewarded when completed the Vault Sphere Ancient Wonder, now only affects Tier 1 and Tier 2 units and reduce casting costs from 80 mana to 60 mana. Okay. The Wayfinder enchantment no longer increases Scout movement speed to very fast. It now stops Scout from dying when routing, and they reduce the routing time by 2 turns. Reduce casting costs from 70 mana casting points to 40 mana and 40 casting points. It also pointed out that the not dying thing is a feature of one of the Oathsworn, but they still also come back faster. This, of course, was done because of the change in movement speed. All right, the second thing we're here for. Tomes. So in Astral, the Tome of the Astral Mirror, unit enchantment Mirror Veil, reduced damage reflected from 50% to 30%. Honestly, that's pretty good. I used this for the first time in forever in my last playthrough, and I've lost count of the units that broke themselves upon me. I wasn't even a tanky culture. I only had a couple of units with Mirror Veil, and they still just died to me. So yeah, probably a good change. For Chaos, this is the affinity that got the most changes. Tome of the Horde. The Blaze of the Horde combat spell reduced casting cost from 10 mana to 15 casting points to 5 mana 10 casting points. Increased the base damage from 20 to 50. The combat spell Fury of the Horde changed from battle-wide to 2 hex radius, but it will now affect Tier 1 and Tier 2 units. Tier 1 units get 2 strengthened, and Tier 2 gain 1 strengthened. This is an exceptional change. I would use the Tome of the Horde more, but I hate Spawnkin. And of course, I can turn Spawnkin off for myself, but I can't for the AI. There was a mod that let me do it. Maybe I'll look into that. I know what the original mod is outdated now, but we'll see. Tome of Devastation. New combat spell, Flame Volley. Targets a 1 hex radius. Enemy units sustain 16 physical, 16 fire damage. Enemy units gain 2 burning. Hexes are set on fire. Oh. Okay. You don't really use Tome of Devastation for combat, so I guess it's cool to add that. This is the one with like the crit buff and the Warbreed and the balls. The balls! Tome of Chaos Channeling. This entire tome has been reworked. So, let's see what we got. The minor race transformation Scion of Flame increased damage inflicted by Vengeful Flames from 2 to 5. Vengeful Flames no longer has a chance to inflict burning. Okay. Unit enchantment Flamer Focus moved from Tomes of Dragons. Oh. I thought they removed it, but it got moved. Changed from 10 physical, 10 fire damage to 20 fire. No longer inflicts bleeding. Increased stacks of inflicted burning from 1 to 2. This is the... this is for battle mages and supports. Okay. World map spell Summon Magma Spirit replaced with world map spell Abyssal Flames. World map spell Abyssal Flames moved from the Tome of the Demon Gate. Additional effect, summons a Magma Spirit. Reduced casting cost from 200 mana casting points to 150. I don't remember what this does. Set the province on fire? I'm not sure. Added world map spell Summon Flame Incarnate summons a non-fiend... Wait, what? Summon a non-fiend Tier 5 mythic unit with fire and burning related abilities. On the world map spell? Huh. A non-fiend. Can you get a, the war thing? The war machine? The war spirit? That would be so cool if you could. A fire dragon? Fire giants are tier 4. Huh. This could be very powerful depending on what the pool looks like. Tome of the Demon Gates. World map spell summon Balor, moved from the Tome of the Chaos Lord. Ooh. And the combat spell Sacrificial Slaughter, moved from the Tome of Chaos Channeling. Tome of the Chaos Lord. Unit enchantment Infernal Focus, moved from the Tome of Chaos Channeling. Renamed to Demonic Siphon, now applies to all Fiend, Dragon, and Elemental types. Additional effect now gives plus 3% chance to crit to Fiends. This was when something died, you gain strengthen, right? Guess what it was called? To also give crit to Fiends. That's very nice. This is a big buff, actually. Cool. So Chaos got a little stronger, which is nice. They kind of needed a little love. The thing with Chaos is that it's a little slow, but I feel like it caps out really hard. And that's only... I mean, the Tome of the Chaos Lord's kind of goated. Now it's even better. Materium, the Tome of Transmutation. Unit enchantment Steel Skin, replace 2 defense with 2 physical protection. The unit Transmuter Transmute skill, additional effect, inflict Sundered resistance and gains bolster resistance when successful. Great. Tome of the Dreadnought, unit enchantment Warding Metals, no longer applies to shield units, no longer applies to warded, now only grants 2 resistance. No longer applies to shield units. Huh? So is it everything but shield units? Or is it shock, polearm, skirmisher? Fighter. Maybe magic fighter. Tome of the Golden Realm. The unit, the Golden Golem. Gilded Cleave, renamed to Golden Cleave. Changed from single action to repeating. No longer inflicts gilded. When striking gilded units, the Golem heals 5 temporary hit points, deals an extra 20% damage with this attack. Is my boy back? Strike Gold, renamed to Gilded Emanation. No longer targets gilded units, no longer regains temporary hit point when gilded units are killed, now has a 60% chance to inflict gilded to all enemies in a 2-hex radius, now enters defense mode after use. Team, he might be back. They clipped his wings, and they might have grown back. This is actually maybe the most excited of everything, just because I loved the Golden Golem. And every time a new polearm with repeating attacks was added that sweeps, I would call back my boy. They nerfed him, but now he's back. Nature. Tome of Evolution. Replaced Youthful Rejuvenation with Slither Hatchling skill as the starting skill. Oh, okay. Wait, is it predetermined what starting skills you can get? Combat spell Youthful Rejuvenation now grants 36 HP healing instead of 18, and only 36 on Evolve units. Now grants ×2 strength to all units rather than Evolve units. Okay. Wait. Now grants 36 HP healing instead of 18. And only 36 on Evolve. So does this not heal? Oh, okay, I'm getting confused. It's just 36 healing now, instead of that. Okay, cool. So this is a major buff. Tome of Glades. The world map spell Create Forest now affects target and adjacent provinces. Can now be used on enemy provinces, though it is considered a hostile action. Cool. So people who like to terraform the world. Got a lot stronger. Tome of Dragons. It's got a big rework. Major Race Transformation, Draconian Transformation, additional effect, plus 10 max HP. Unit enchantment Flamer Focus has been reworked to Dragon Breath Focus. No longer affects battle mages. Now affects Polearm, Shield, Fighter, Shock, and Magic Fighter units. Grants Breath Attack once per battle, base 20 elemental damage, puts the unit defense mode. Damage is based on dominant affinity and unit tier. So is it at tier 1, is this 20 damage? I was hoping you would tell me how it scales. Interesting. That's definitely way cooler than the Flamer Focus. I think I usually ignored Flamer Focus if I went Tome of Dragons. Unit unlock Young Dragon, replaced with world map spell Call Young Dragon. Costs 150 mana and casting points to cast. Summon Young Dragons are not magic origin and cost gold upkeep instead of mana. Aww. Honestly, that's a good thing. There's too many magic origin synergies that would have made this disgusting. But one of the reasons this was changed is because we can finally now pick our summons with a spell. Apparently that was not a thing until semi-recently. So, although they didn't mention if you still have the alignment restrictions. Like, can you call an Obsidian Dragon when you're good? I don't know. Probably they have that restriction still, but we'll see. Siege Project Dragon Attack. Increased chance to inflict burning from 90 to 120%. Additional effect. Increased fortification damage from 0 to 5. This Siege Project is goated now. Like, this alone, just adding this would have made this so strong. New Empire bonus, the Dragon Infusion. Rank up non-racial dragon units by exchanging gold to gain experience. This is very similar to the School of Summoning. It's the exact same feature. You see gold instead of Astral Echoes. The SPI, Wyvern Eyrie, changed from research post to a mine. I did get comments reminding me of that, thank you. Changed from granting 10 knowledge income to granting 10 gold income. Changed from granting +5 draft income per adjacent farm to granting +5 gold. Money! It makes sense. Tome of the Stormborn. The unit Stormbringer changed from Skirmisher to Magic Fighter. Storm Strike changed from a melee ability to a magic ability. Storm Strikes changed from 8 physical, 8 lightning to 15 lightning. They slipped in a 1 damage nerf there. Throw Storm Triton changed from physical range to a magic ability, and changed from 12 physical, 12 lightning to 24 lightning. This didn't get nerfed though. I think a lot of skirmishers got changed to magic fighters, and I'm pretty sure they lost Slippery and Swift. Is that what it was? I think this unit got disgusting again. This unit has been nerfed both directly and indirectly like 3 times. And I think it's back up there. Order. Tome of Zeal. The unit Zealot changed from a fighter to a magic fighter. Melee strike to magic strike. And changed from 11 physical, 2 spirit to 13 spirit damage. Oh, this unit's going to be disgusting. Is it time to bring back the Giga Zealot from the GOAT playthrough? It might be. Tome of Discipline. The Monk got 10 more HP. Excellent change. Tome of Virtue. The combat spell Heroic Stand can now only be used on a unit once per battle. Thank you. Amazing change. I mean, I abused the crap out of it, but it's an amazing change. Increased casting cost from 15 mana 20 casting points to 30 mana 25 casting points. Okay. Honestly, I don't mind its cost now that it's a unit once per battle. In the Gaius Julius playthrough, I threw a Guardian out there, like just into the thick of it, and I just put this on him every turn. It was fantastic. Tome of the Cleansing Flame. World map spell, the Consecrating Firestorm, no longer counts as a sustained spell for the duration of Consecrating Firestorm. Okay. Tome of Exaltation. The world map spell Ascended Warriors can no longer increase ranks above Legendary. Okay. Was it able? We didn't have Exalted. Okay, that's fine. So we can't go into Exalted, which is probably fair. Shadow. Tome of the Blood Rite. The Blood Cultist Scarlet Plague increased damage from 20 to 24. I'll take it. Tome of the Cold Dark. New Empire passive Arctic Farming. Now allows snow provinces to build farms. Farms on snow terrain get +5 food income if the race has Arctic adaptation. Interesting. New Empire passive Snow Preference. Provinces with snow grant +2 city stability. Not too shabby. I think it's cool. I don't know how I feel about this yet, but the tomes are kind of building in. Wait. Is this something you have to research? It says passive, so is this just like on the right side with the like the SPIs you unlock? What I was going to say is like with this and the Tome of the Dragons unlocking the ability to give gold for experience, that's not a spell or anything you have to maintain. That's just a skill you get, like a mechanic you unlock through the tome. I think it would be cool for them to explore this. I'm trying to find it, but my brain, here we go. New Empire bonus, Dragon Infusion. I think this is a really cool idea to explore, because this opens up like what a tome is. Because up until now, you know, the tome gave you an SPI maybe, but all of its effects, whether enchantments or magic or whatever. But this is exploring what this knowledge could be. It could be bonuses to your empire. It could be new passives. I really like this and hope they continue to explore it. Tome of Calamity. The unit enchantment Accursed Armor. Reduced defense given from +2 to +1. Really? Okay. The unit Calamity Dragon. Force Mask of Calamity now tied as a debuff instead of single shot. And the Rip Mass Calamity is now tagged as Magic Shingle Shot. That makes sense. Alright, those are the tome changes. What do I think? I think they're all good changes. I'm very curious to try the Gold Boy again. They were able to make this change, well, because they have other cleaving polearms, but also because the transmuter now supports Gilded. Because before it was just the spell, the Gilding Blast, and the Golden Golem, I think they could do Gilded. But now it's the transmuter and the spell and still the passive of the Golden Golem. So I think the Gilding synergies were increased and are better now. For the units. Oh dear. Sorry for the cut there. I had to open my water that I brought. I am, it's a minor interjection before we get to units. I am, of course, still recovering from my surgery. I'm now 6 days post-op. Thank you all for your comments in the previous video. I am, of course, prioritizing healing, but I'll talk about more about that later. I meet my doctor tomorrow for post-op assessment. Fingers crossed. So units, Poison Bolts and Poison Blast have been renamed to Blight Bolts and Blight Blast. Makes sense. Diseased now applies Weakened and Poison to the sufferer at the start of the turn, instead of its resistance reduction. Siege units and Tower units now have status immunity Soulbound. This also prevents them from being resurrected as zombies or animals if you're a ritualist. It's funny. Animal units owned by players and free cities now get combat trained, plus 10 hit points, plus 1 defense, and plus 1 resistance. Just blanket? Huh. Were animals considered weak? I mean, I know they weren't good if you weren't an animal build specifically. Interesting. I wanted to try animal stuff anyway, but now I really want to try animal stuff. The Astral Sea Creatures. Oh. The Astral Serpent changed from fighter to magic fighter, has a magic strike, and changed from 8 physical, 8 lightning to 15 lightning. They slipped in a 1 damage nerf there. The Astral Keeper, Astral Blessing, can now target the caster. Very nice. I always thought that was strange. For Burbs, we all know Burbs aren't real. The Spirit Hawk is now a magic fighter with a magic strike and changed from 5 spirit, 3 physical damage to 10 spirit. Hey, there's something a damage buff there. Look at him. Look at him go. This could actually be really strong if you like really lean into animals, because of course they can fly. They can fly around formations and get in there with their magic fighting, punching. The Grimbeak Crow now has the tiny passive. Okay. Bringing in the bat tech. Melee strike, increased damage from 8 to 10, increased chance to inflict blind from 30% to 60%. Very cool. The Celestial Griffin reduced HP from 70 to 65. Rip. The Carrion Bird. Melee strike, increased damage from 10 to 12. Carrion Feed changed from leave 1 action to a free action. Oh my. Your premier anti-zombie unit. The Phoenix. Okay. What? Okay, hold on. Phoenix changed from a mythic to a magic fighter unit. It will now be affected by all enchantments for magic fighters. It's now an elemental. Charge Strike has been reworked to Magic Strike, so it's no longer a shock unit. Well, of course, it's a magic fighter. Magic Strike changed from 22 fire, 11 physical to 17 fire. Okay. Big damage nerf, but again, it's a multi-strike now. Overheat reduced damage from 25 to 22. Overheat changed from single action to a full action. That's a great change. And Fire Rebirth increased time to revive from 1 to 2 turns. Oh. Oh. Okay. So the Phoenix is one of my banes in every playthrough. I think this was... Overheat being a full action, it was a significant buff, or debuff for them. Nerf. Because they used to just fly in. You'd have this one square in your formation that you just didn't think about or thought was safe. They'd fly in there and then explode on your whole army. It's happened to me countless times. But now, they can't do that. It's a full action. But they're definitely better fighters than they were. Huh. And of course, now being an elemental, It won't benefit from the animal enchantments, which is what made it disgustingly strong. But it will benefit from the Tome of the Creator. Very interesting. I'm going to keep my eyes on this one. Aquatic. The Dire Penguin. Melee Strike now has Morale Drain. It is the source of all evil. The Kraken Spawn. Melee Strike. Increased damage from 12 to 14. Increased combat speed. Increase from 4 to 5. I forgot this was a unit. And this one too. This is the turtle. Nemu Soothing. Increase temporary HP healed from 20 to 30. Increase grand attacks regeneration from 2 to 3. I will remember these units exist when they're allowed to walk on land. And they don't have to, like, I mean, I guess they could crawl. Both of these units can, or, these units are inspired by real animals that can go on land. They typically don't like too much, but they can. But, what game was it? Was it Pokemon of all things? That their aquatic-only creatures would be on land in, like, a bubble? Something like that, maybe. I don't know. You make that an enchantment or something. I'd love to see these units be used. Bears. The Polar Bear. Melee Strike now deals extra damage against units with bleeding, and Swipe now has a 9% chance to inflict bleeding. I do not remember the last time I saw a Polar Bear. I don't. The Brown Bear. Reduce HP from 80 to 70. Melee Strike now deals extra damage against bleeding units, and Swipe has a chance to bleed. Now evolves into the Dire Bear. Ah. Dire Bear's tier 4, right? Melee Strike now deals extra damage against units with bleeding, and the Swipe has a guaranteed chance to inflict bleeding. Cool. Very fun. I guess if you're running an animal build, you can guarantee brown bears, right? Their pool is like grassland and forest, I think. Canines. The Warg. Melee Strike now has a 60% chance of inflicting bleeding. The Spirit Wolf changed from fighter to magic fighter, increased HP from 80 to 90. The Melee Strike is now Magic Strike that does goes from 8 physical, 8 spirit damage to 15 spirit damage. They slipped in 1 damage nerf. The Sabertooth changed from a skirmisher to a fighter. Okay. But kept slippery and swift. Pounce has been changed from a physical range ability to a melee ability. So by all definition, it is a skirmisher still. It just no longer has a ranged ability. Although, you can still do this from range, right? Okay, weird. I'm sure there was a reason they did this. The Phase Beast is now a single model unit. Big buff for this boy, who I don't use very often. The Entwined Scourge no longer has the Entwine ability. Oh. Rip. Poison Bolts renamed to Entwining Bolts. Has a 60% chance of inflicting Entwined. Increased range from 4 to 5. Big buff for this boy. Sap Strength has been changed full action to single action. Continue. Thralls that are created by the Entwined effect evolve after combat into Entwined Protectors that can be kept from mana. This guy is so much stronger. And I used to mock Treebeard, but now Treebeard might be coming for me. The Entwined Protector now has natural regeneration. Great change. The Nightmare. Charge Strike increases chance to inflict burning from 60 to 90%. Charge Strike now has Demoralizing Charge, giving a 90% chance to reduce morale of the target by 10. The Unicorn. Charge Strike now dispels 1 positive status effect from the target, and it has the new ability of Cleansing Touch, which is a free action, heals 10 temporary hit points, and removes 2 negative status effects on a 3-turn cooldown. Cool. I'm assuming it still has Blink or Teleport. I haven't used a Unicorn in a long time. Interesting. The Inferno Puppy has been changed from a fighter to a magic fighter. Melee Strike is now a magic strike, and it went from 8 physical 4 fire to 11 fire. Slight nerf stuck in there. The Inferno Hound changed from fighter to magic fighter. Melee Strike is now a magic strike, and it went from 10 physical 6 fire to 15 fire. Slight nerf in there. I mean, it's hard to determine whether this is damage buff or damage nerf, because 8 physical 4 fire would be decreased by both defense and resistance. Whereas now this is going directly against resistance. Interesting to see. The Gremlin changed from a skirmisher to a magic fighter. Now has fast combat speed. Melee Strike changed to magic strike, and its damage changed from 10 physical 4 fire to 13 fire. Behind you changed from physical ranged to magic, changed from 10 physical 10 fire to 20 fire. Of course, you still want behind you, look over there, is mostly for look over there. But nice damage. The Balor. Inferno puppies created by the Chaos brand ability evolve after combat into Inferno hounds that can be kept for mana. Big change for that guy. It was always strange to me that by the time the Balor, big tier 5 scary thing, by the time you got there, you don't want a pop-up offering you a tier 1 shitter. Sorry, Inferno puppy, but at that point, that's what you are. So, good change. The Fae, the Mistling, the Foul Abomination. Changed from Skirmisher to Magic Fighter, now has fast combat speed. Misty Strike changed from 26 physical to 13 blight, 13 lightning. Fey Trick changed from 8 physical, 8 blight, 8 lightning to 12 blight, 12 lightning. No damage buffs for this one, huh? Or damage nerfs. So the Mistling is a Foul Abomination, and I think it is going to remain a Foul Abomination. Yeah. I think that's the assessment. The Butcher Ogre, increase HP from 80 to 90. The Fire Giant, increase HP from 140 to 150. Increase combat speed from 4 to 5. The Heavy Charge Strike, increase damage from 11 physical, 11 fire to 17 physical, 17 fire. Big buff for him. Volcanic Smash now does full damage to all enemy units. Charged or changed from 90% chance to inflict burning to inflict 3 stacks of burning. Big buffs for the Fire Giant. Conjure Runestone. The Fire Runestone has been changed from a tier 1 to a tier 2. The Fire Blast changed from single action to repeating at 12 damage instead of 16, and it inflicts burning. The Fire Runestone is summoned with full action points. That got really scary. Wait, this guy is actually kind of scary now. The Rock Giant, increase HP from 140 to 150, increase combat speed from 4 to 5. The Heavy Charge Strike, now increase damage from 30 physical to 35 physical. Earthquake Smash now does full damage to all enemy units. Throw Boulder, increase damage from 27 to 41. Change from a 90% chance to inflict slowed to 90% chance to inflict stunned. Additional effect, enemy units are knocked back 1 hex. Okay. Giants are scary again. Giants got a minor rework in Giant Kings, but even after that, they usually weren't scary. Now I think they're gonna be. Frost Giant, increase HP from 140 to 150, increase combat speed from 4 to 5. Heavy Charge Strike, increase damage from 11 physical, 11 frost to 17 physical, 17 frost. Blizzard Smash now does a full damage to all enemy units. Throw Ice Boulder, increase damage from 27 to 41, and a 120% chance to inflict frozen instead of 90% chance to slow. The Storm Giant, increase HP from 140 to 150, combat speed 4 to 5. Heavy Charge Strike, increase from 11 to 17 physical, 17 lightning. Tempestuous Smash now does full damage to all enemy units. Lightning Strike, reduced range from 6 to 4. Changed from 90% accuracy to cannot miss. Changed from full action to single action. And also inflicts 3 stacks of Electrified. Oh boy. Alright. I mean, to be fair, they're a tier 4 mythic unit that got an entire expansion about them. They are meant to be scary. And they just weren't. Well, now they are. The Blood Maggot, reduce HP from 60 to 50, no longer benefit from Wizard Tower summon ranks, and similar effects when spawned from a Blood Parasite effect. This behavior aligns with zombies. Good change. The unit, or the Giant Beetle, Pestilent Escape, increased damage from 4/4 to 8 physical, 8 blight, literally doubled its damage, and it will now evolve into the Death Beetle, which is now a tier 3 unit. Increase HP from 70 to 90, melee strike increased from 14 to 16, melee strike increased chance to inflict weaken from 30 to 60%, Pestilent Escape increased damage from 5/5 to 8 physical, 8 blight, Deathly Exhaust increased damage from 10/10 to 14 blight, 14 frost, and increases chance to inflict weaken from 90% to guaranteed. Okay, our beetles got some gaming. The Pyremoth, champion, Burning Dust changed from inflicting an additional second bleeding to a 60% chance to inflict blind. I haven't seen one of these guys in a while. The Caustic Worm now has pass-through. That makes sense. Caustic Eruption increased damage from 15 to 18. I mean, the Caustic Worm is literally going under the ground to get to where it's going, so it passing through makes sense. Loxodonta. Is that what Family of the Elephants is? Huh. The Elephant increased stomp chance to inflict stun from 60% to 90%. The Mammoth got the exact same change. And the Infernal Juggernaut Charge Strike damage increased from 13-13 to 14 physical, 14 fire. Nice. Infernal Stop increased damage from 30 to 35. Minor changes, but good changes. The Spoder. Ah, the Spoder. The Dread Spider Hatchling. Increased combat speed from normal to fast. Okay. The Vampire Spider Hatchling. Normal to fast, and reduce HP from 55 to 50. Okay, nerf for the Vampire. The Ice Spider changed from Fighter to Magic Fighter. Is now an Elemental. Has Magic Strike. Magic changed from 7 physical, 7 frost to 13 frost damage. And Frozen Web changed from 8-8 to 16 frost damage. I'm assuming it still freezes, though. That was like what you really wanted from the Ice Spider. The Vampire Spider Matriarch reduced HP from 95 to 90. The Dread Spider Matriarch reduced HP from 95 to 90. The Ice Spider Matriarch is now a Magic Fighter. That is an Elemental. Reduced HP from 115 to 110. Melee Strike is now Magic Strike. Magic Strike is now went from 10 physical, 8 frost to 17 frost. And Frozen Web from 12-12 to 24 frost damage. And the Hunter Spider Matriarch reduced from 115 to 110. So all in all, minor nerfs for the Spoders. Okay. I mean, they deserved it, probably. The Wind Rager changed from Fighter to Magic Fighter. Melee Strike is now a Magic Strike that does 1 less damage. It's still physical, though. Okay. That might be a reason to actually go Tome of Winds. Like, usually when you go Tome of Winds, it's for the increased range and the Tier 3 Archer. But the Wind Rager, getting an early Tier 2 Magic Fighter out might be worth it now. The Lesser Snow Spirit is now a Magic Fighter as well, with a Magic Strike that went from 8 physical, 4 frost to 11 frost, and the Freezing Burst went from 6-6 to 11 frost damage. The Snow Spirit changed from a Skirmisher to a Magic Fighter. Melee Strike changed to Magic Strike, went from 8 physical, 8 frost to 15 frost, and its Freezing Burst went from 8-8 to 15 frost damage. This is probably good. Them being skirmishers never really made sense. Like, they were a skirmisher, of course, because they had a ranged attack that they could throw. But this makes more sense. The Lesser Tide Spirit increased HP from 60 to 80. Tide Spirit increased HP from 90 to 110. These guys always die on me. So a good change. The Lesser Stone Spirit reduced Blight Protection from 6 to 4. Added 3 physical protection. The Stone Spirit, same thing. The Earth Titan reduced Blight Protection from 6 to 4, added 2 physical protection. Really. The Heralds of War replaced Warded with +3 resistance. That's what I was thinking of earlier. This is a Tier 5 Mythic unit we've never really been able to get, but I wonder if you can now. Swede. Pigs. The Gortos Piglet increased HP from 50 to 60. Charge Strike increased chance to inflict bleeding from 30% to 60%. The Gortos Matriarch. Charge Strike increased damage from 21 to 24. Increased chance to inflict bleeding from 60% to guaranteed. And the Violent Gorging changed from once per battle to a 2-turn cooldown. Good change for Miss Piggy there. The Storm Scale Serpent is now a Magic Fighter with a Magic Strike. Change damage from 6 physical to 6 lightning. 6 physical, 6 lightning to 13 lightning. Okay, damage increase there. The Plague Serpent is a Magic Fighter as well, with a Magic Strike that went from 7 physical, 7 blight to 13 blight. The Crocodile increased HP from 60 to 65, and the Pestilence Crocodile, which I feel like you never see anymore, increased melee strike damage from 4-4-4 to 5 physical, 5 blight, 5 frost. Okay, a buff for Arboya. Wildlife Umbral replaced +2 inherent defense with +2 physical protection. The Will Thief changed from Fighter to Magic Fighter, with its damage going from 7 physical, 7 frost to 13 frost. It's Dragon time! The Wyvern Fledgling changed from Skirmisher to Magic Fighter, with a Magic Strike. Reduced physical damage from 12 to 11. Again, these guys can fly now. Or, they've always been able to fly, but they can fly into your backline and punch you real hard. So early game, they could be really scary. So damage nerf makes sense. The Bone Wyvern changed from Skirmisher to Magic Fighter, with the Magic Strike that went from 8 physical, 5 blight to 13 blight. Poisonous Burst changed damage from 7-7 to 20 blight damage, okay. But with a cooldown of 1 turn instead of 2. Big changes for the Bone Wyvern. I'm assuming this is going to be replicated with all the Wyverns. Magic Fighter, Magic Strike, 9 physical, 6 fire to 15 fire. This is for the Fire Wyvern. Their Burning Burst, 8 physical, 8 fire to 24 fire, with a 1 turn cooldown. big buffs for wyverns. Is it time for a wyvern build? You can do a wyvern build in an animal build, I think. Changed from a skirmisher to magic fighter. Magic strike went from 9 physical 6 frost to 15 frost damage. Freezing burst renamed to hindering burst, which has been changed from 8 physical 8 frost to 24 physical. Changed from a 90% chance of inflicting frozen to a guaranteed chance to inflict slowed with a 1-turn cooldown. Okay, that makes sense. The Gold Wyvern, magic fighter, with a magic strike, which went from 9 physical 6 spirit to 14 spirit damage. Distracting burst changed from 8 physical 8 spirit to 23 spirit damage with a 1-turn cooldown. The Obsidian Wyvern is a magic fighter with a magic strike, which was 9 physical 6 lightning to 15 lightning. Electrified blast burst changed damage from 8 physical 8 lightning to 24 lightning with a 1-turn cooldown. The Young Fire Dragon changed from fighter to mythic, now has the passive natural regeneration, increased HP from 100 to 135. Its magic strike went from 12 physical 5 fire to 20 fire damage. Tail Swipe increases damage from 26 to 29 and now enters defense mode. The young dragons got so much better. Actually, the full dragons did as well. The Young Frost Dragon is mythic with natural regeneration, 100 to 135, magic strike, which was 12 physical 5 frost to now 20 frost. Tail Swipe 26 to 29. Unit enters defense mode after use. The Young Golden Dragon is now mythic with passive regeneration, increased HP from 100 to 135. Its magic strike damage was changed from 12 physical 5 spirit to 20 spirit damage, and its tail swipe was increased by 3. And now enters defense mode. The Young Obsidian Dragon changed from fighter to mythic, now has the passive natural regeneration, increased HP from 100 to 135. With a magic strike that was 12 physical 5 lightning to 20 lightning damage, increases damage by 3 on tail swipe, and now enters defense mode. So, them being upgraded to mythic, or changed to mythic, was, I think, more of a consistency thing. Because as a fighter, they would of course benefit from all of your mini enchantments. And then you go to mythic, and I wouldn't say they get weaker, but they would lose all of their enchantment effects. Now they're just mythic from start to finish. But they did get quite a lot stronger as compensation for that. The Bone Dragon. I fought so many of these things. I have a magic strike, change damage from 18 physical 11 blight to 25 blight damage. The Fire Dragon now has the passive natural generation, has magic strike, which was changed from 19 physical 13 fire to 28 fire damage, and on tail swipe now enters defense mode. The Bow Dragon has tail swipe too, right? Does it not enter defense mode? I mean, the Bone Dragon is a tier 4 compared to the tier 5 dragons. The Frost Dragon now has the passive natural generation, magic strike changed from 19 physical 13 frost to 28 frost damage, and enters defense mode after tail swiping. The Golden Dragon has the passive natural generation and has a magic strike that was 19 physical 13 spirit to 28 spirit damage, and enters defense mode after tail swiping. The Obsidian Dragon now has natural generation, has a magic strike that was 19 physical 13 lightning to 28 lightning damage, and now enters defense mode after tail swiping. I think the dragons are good. Honestly, this is pretty much buffs across the board. Except for the Blood Maggot. So yeah, good changes. Good changes. In the world map, certain handcrafted regions with specific themes, such as the Sunless and Blessed regions, now only show up in specific realm traits, such as the Sunless Highlands and the Blessed Fields. The only handcrafted regions that can always show up in a realm are the ones from Giant Kings and the desert handcrafted regions from Rise from a Ruin. So this is good. I'm gonna miss all the Blessed Fields, but in my last playthrough, we had a section that was Sunless near Blint and Isel, and we had a section that was Blessed near Rurik and... what's his name? The guy I fought forever, Rastakhan. You've been king a long time, Rastakhan. Maybe too long. But yeah, this will be good to remove them. Improve the generation of the Umbral Abyss when playing without the Underground enabled. Okay. The Capture and Release Ancient Wonder action no longer removes a unit's move points. The units are free to move on while the action is running. Okay. But then, of course, you can just walk over it with something else and turn it off. It is now possible to use Force March on individual units of a stack. I just learned you couldn't do this at the last playthrough. This is done by first selecting the units of the stack by clicking on their portraits and then giving them a move order by right-clicking the map as usual. After confirming the first march pop-up, only the selected units will receive the effects. Yeah, until now, which again I learned last playthrough, if you did this exact sequence of actions, the whole stack would move. Well, good to know I wasn't the only one who thought that. And of course, we've reached fixes. Now, fixes are of course all well and good. They're great, in fact. However, most of them are just making things work properly. So, I'm not going to read through them. But of course, you can find a link in the description to these patches if you'd like to read them for yourself. What do we think of the patch? I think it's all good. Well, let me rephrase that. I think the balance changes are all fantastic. All great, all in the right direction, magnifique. This one, though, I don't get the pull shot one. I'll have to try that. But most of the changes here, like most of the work on this patch, was done in the mechanical changes. They had to go through every single unit for the defensive changes. And of course, experience update would require massive balancing, because I think we're still going to find a way to break this, and I'm very excited to get my hands on it. And then, of course, the movement thing as well. Probably less complicated to do, but also very important. So I'm curious what you think about these significant mechanical changes. Again, I'll probably make a poll for this. Now, the next playthrough will be a Blint Saga that will just run down before the release of Rise from Ruin. I have big plans for this DLC. Hopefully I'm healthy enough by then. I should be. It's March 9th. Brain? Hello? Right, Blint Saga. It will be the second and final mission for the Empires and Ashes, and I'm thinking about doing it in the Scorpion update. So we can test out some of the magic fighters, we can play around with some of the new mechanical changes to see how we feel about them. Let me know what you think of the patch and of that possibility. Tomorrow is the second dev stream. I am aiming to have that up by Friday. Maybe early Saturday if things are really slow. But thanks for watching. I too hope you enjoyed breaking down the nitty and the gritty. Thank you to patrons and the channel members who support the channel. I greatly appreciate you. If you would like to stay up to date with anything happening on the channel, feel free to join the Discord description down below. And I will see you very soon for the second Dev Diary Dev Stream Breakdown.